Hey y'all, welcome to week 3 of the January Pantry Challenge. Today I am making some meatloaf. This is the best meatloaf recipe. I got this from a lady on YouTube called I'm Still Working. I'll have her video linked below. It is the best meatloaf you'll ever get. And I will have the recipe down below, but it just takes crackers, a couple beaten eggs, some onions, some chopped bell peppers, salt and pepper. And I'll have the exact recipe down below, but you got to make this. It's so easy. And this is my go-to, so I just use my hands to mix it up. I like baking mine on a sheet tray so all the fat doesn't cook into the meat. And I'm going to make another potato salad just because I have got a lot of potatoes that I need to use up, and I've still got a lot of relish that I need to use up. And I cook these potatoes in a pressure cooker, and they're so much better than cooking them in a pot boiling them. And I'm just mixing up the mayonnaise. I've got a little bit of mustard, some of that relish, and some cut up onions. And I'm going to top it with some seasoning salt. I like that flavor. I topped the meatloaf with some ketchup, and I got a bag of corn out of the freezer, and it needed to be used up, so I'm just going to boil that on the stove. And here is my meatloaf. I've got some potato salad. I made a pasta salad, just made up some Italian dressing and put some noodles in there. And next we're going to have a good old-fashioned comfort meal. I found some more pork chops in the freezer, so I'm going to fry those. I found some black-eyed peas that I need to use up, and I've got a can of collards and a can of sweet potatoes that I need to use up. I just love these kind of meals, especially when it's cold outside. It's just so comforting. This reminds me of my grandma and grandpa's too. And now I'm going to make some spaghetti sauce. So I browned some ground beef I had in the freezer, and I'm just using a paper towel to get up all the grease. It's so much easier than draining it out. I cut up an onion and a green pepper that I had, and I'm going to saute that with some onion powder, some garlic powder. I've got some oregano, some Italian seasonings, and I'm just going to add that to the pot, a couple bay leaves, and some salt and pepper. I'm going to add a can of diced tomatoes, a can of tomato sauce, and get that mixed in. I'm going to add in a can of tomato paste and get that mixed up and heat that through, and I've got spaghetti. And that was really good tonight too on a cold day. Today I'm going to make like a Alfredo broccoli bake. You can add in some pasta, but I didn't because my daughter is not eating pasta, so we're going to make it without. But you could do it as a side. I'm just going to make some Alfredo sauce. You just mix butter and heavy cream and Parmesan cheese. And I'm going to add some chicken that I defrosted and some broccoli that I defrosted out of the freezer. I topped it with some Parmesan cheese and baked it, and this was so good. And I don't even know where I got this. I just threw it together, but it was amazing. And now I'm going to put on some rice. I'm going to make some Chinese. I haven't had any in so long. I cut up the chicken. I cut it with cut up an onion with it, and then I put the chicken back in there and mix it together. And I had this sesame sauce from Aldi. It was so good. And I put in some soy sauce and mix that together. This was a quick and easy dinner. I just used my 5-minute rice and put that all together, heated it through, and it was so good. I got some more ground beef out, and I'm going to make some sloppy joes. The grandkids requested this, so I just heated that through with the ground beef, and I do always add a little bit of brown sugar. This recipe for canning is a little bit acidic, so I just added a little bit of that, and we had that with some chips, and they were very happy, and we were too. It was really good. I've had these short ribs in the freezer forever, so I made a batch of short ribs. I made them during the holidays, and they were so good I had to make them again. I will have the exact recipe down below, but it's so easy. You just brown your vegetables, put in some wine and some broth. You could probably double the broth if you don't want the wine, and I just cut up the short ribs and put them in that broth and put them in the oven, and you would not believe how delicious these are, and so easy to make and so fancy. And tonight I'm going to use some more food storage to make a Brunswick stew. I've just got tomatoes, I've got a can of pork, and I've also got a can of chicken, and I'm using the broth that's in there too, and then I'll put in some more of my broth that I canned and just mix that up together, get all the big chunks broken up, And you're just going to simmer that with some barbecue sauce. I think that's the best part, is the barbecue sauce. I added in some of my frozen corn that I needed to use up. You can leave that out, but I love corn in just about anything. So I'm going to go ahead and let that heat up. I did add some garlic powder and some onion powder too. I also added in some hot sauce, and this was so good. This just hit the spot on a cold winter day. You can customize this and put anything you want in here, but this is the way we like to eat it. And it was the playoffs, so I made the boys a snack plate with some chicken nuggets and some grapes and some cucumbers. And I made some wings from frozen. All I did was lay them on the tray and cook them almost all the way. Then I mixed them with the sauces. I'm using some hot sauce and I'm using some teriyaki. That Kinder's teriyaki is really good. I'm glad I had these wings. These are the last batch of wings that I have in the freezer, so I might have to get some more for the Super Bowl. But I just took them out of the oven, put the sauce, more sauce on them, and then put them back in the oven. And they were really good. That Kinder sauce is really good. And then I made a Chef Boyardee pizza for the boys. And this last meal, my daughter made a taco bake with a crescent roll, some ground beef and cheese on top, and then we just added some sour cream and sauce on the top. This is one of our favorite meals to have, and I'll have the recipe down below. I hope you liked week 3 of the January Pantry Challenge, and I'll see you on week 4.